Okay, so I would like to ask you a question. What is, in your opinion, the first step to achieve flawless looking makeup? True. Yeah. All right. So you need to, of course, prepare your skin, prep your skin. So make sure that your skin is well moisturized and nourished. This is the first step, because if you want to achieve a good looking makeup, you need to have a good canvas in a way. So, and then the second step would be to use a makeup primer. Do you know what is a makeup primer? Of course you know. So a makeup primer is going to make your makeup last longer on your skin, and it's also going to protect your skin from the makeup, because putting makeup on your face is like an aggression. It's not natural, right? So of course you need to protect your pores, make sure that your pores won't be, to protect your skin from the makeup. And also it's going to protect your skin from pollution, and make sure that your makeup will stay all day, even if it's windy outside or rainy outside. You don't want your makeup to be ruined because of the weather, right? So, let's start. We have a lot of primers in Makeup Forever. I'm using a hydrating primer. We have a nourishing primer, we have a smoothing primer, we have also color corrective primers. Do you know what is color corrective primer? Of course you know. You know everything, right? So, if you have a little bit of redness, or if your skin is a little bit dull looking, you would like to use a corrective primer, meaning that it's the theory of colors. It's colorimetry. So if she has like a little bit of redness, I can use a green primer on her skin, which is going to counteract the red on her face and reduce the intensity of her redness. She has an amazing skin, so I'm not going to do that. But I can see that, we all know that during winter time your skin tends to get a little bit dry, so I am going to use a hydrating primer, making sure that her skin is very smooth before applying my makeup products on her face. So I am going to use that. You can use, of course, your hands. It's like a regular moisturizer, but I am going to use a brush for more precision. So the brush that I'm using, maybe we can show you. The brush that I'm using right now is a flat foundation brush, and I like to use a flat brush because it applies my products evenly on my face. So it's better to use this kind of brush for creamy consistencies. So I'm going to use that, and I am going to apply the product on the center of my face first, moving my way upward. So. And why I am doing that is because when I will apply my foundation on top of my primer, actually I will apply more foundation on the center of my face rather than applying the same amount of foundation everywhere, because I don't want to have like a mask effect on my skin. So applying your foundation and primer this way, it's going to help you not to have a cakey looking complexion. Like that. And I'm also applying the primer on my lids, because I am going to apply a little bit of eyeshadows on her lids, so it's going to also help my eyeshadows to stay all day on her lids. Like that. And it's best to let your primer set for about 30 seconds before applying anything on your face. So what is the second step? Foundation. Right? So when I'm using foundation, I don't want to apply the same amount of foundation on my face, everywhere on my face. I will make sure that I apply enough on the areas where I need to apply foundation, but on the perimeter of my face, her face looks absolutely flawless, so I don't need a lot of product. And by the way, I am using the Ultra HD foundation, which is a brand new Makeup Forever foundation. Do you know this product? I don't know if you tried the new HD, which is the Ultra HD. And this foundation is amazing for daily use, but it's also amazing for TV and movies, because the texture is very thin, but it's also it has also a lot of coverage at the same time. So if you have any color discoloration or redness, it's going to help you to cancel your issues. So I am taking maybe 1 pump and a half. And what I'm doing right now is very important. I am warming the product on my hand first before applying to my face, because it's going to help me to apply the product evenly on my face. If I directly put the product on my face without warming it on my hand first, it's going to look a little bit more cakey. So I'm starting in the center, like so. And I don't push too hard on my brush. I'm very gentle on the skin, because if you push too hard, actually, you will remove the foundation. So I'm kind of patting the foundation on my face, like so. And I'm also stretching the foundation to the perimeter of my face. So if you have some redness on the cheeks, for example, instead of stretching the foundation, you just want to pat it like so, so you have more coverage. And of course, if you are doing your own makeup, you can definitely use your hands. But I think that using a brush is the best way to have an even looking foundation. Complexion, sorry. And I'm also going to use the foundation underneath my eyes, even before using concealer, because I will have to use less concealer afterwards. So I think so. Some people prefer to apply the concealer before applying the foundation. I think that there's no particular rule for this. I personally prefer to use to apply my foundation before my concealer, because I already have a little bit of coverage with my foundation. So I will need less concealer afterwards. Take a little bit more foundation. Don't forget to shake it a little bit so you don't have any clumps. And by the way, if you have any question, feel free to ask. Okay. So very gentle on the skin. And if you apply too hard, if you push too hard with your brush on the skin, it creates strokes also on your face. So this is why I am very gentle. I think you should definitely spend more time on your complexion rather than your eye makeup or your lips, because if your complexion looks flawless, actually it's going to be very easy to achieve making sure that everything looks flawless and even. By the way, do you know how to choose the right foundation color? How do you do that?
Put a little bit here so it goes into your neck as well.
Exactly. And some people are testing the foundation on their wrist, which is not good because the color of your wrist and the color of your face, of course, is not the same. So it's an amazing answer. You need to try your foundation on the jawline right here and make sure that when you blend the foundation down to your neck, it is exactly the same color. This is how you choose your foundation color. And if you're not sure and if you're hesitating between two maybe or three colors, just try 3 different shades and try to choose the shade which is more adapted to your skin tone. Some people also are telling me, asking me, my skin, my face is a lot lighter than the rest of my body. So what can I do if I, wearing like a top where we can see my shoulders and stuff? So what can I do? What foundation color can you use? Do I have to match with my body or with my face? In your opinion? You don't know?
Could you use bronzer to make your face darker?
Yeah, it's true. But in my opinion, I think that if your face is a lot lighter than the rest of your body, you should definitely choose a foundation which is slightly darker to make sure that blends seamlessly with the rest of your body. And of course, you can use bronzer. We have some makeup artists here, okay? So, if you don't like to wear foundation on a daily basis, you don't have to, of course. What you can do instead is, if you don't like the feeling of having a foundation on your face, you feel like it's a little bit too heavy, what you can do actually is you can mix your foundation with your moisturizer or with your primer, and it's going to create more of a tinted moisturizer effect. It's going to be very light on your skin, and you're not going to feel it actually. So, and if your hair is short like this, don't forget your ears. Okay, moving on to concealer. So I am going to use the Ultra HD concealer. I don't know if you know it, which is great because it's very covering, but the texture is very thin at the same time. So I really, really, really like the consistency. And actually, what you can do with a concealer is you can create highlights on your face to bring your natural, to make sure that your skin looks brighter and more fresh in a way. So you can also use a concealer to do that. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a very natural way. So to apply my concealer, I'm going to use another brush, which is the baby version of my foundation brush. It's a smaller brush. It needs to be flat, because if it's not flat, and if it's more fluffy, you're going to have a hard time applying your concealer. So in my my opinion, it's better to take a flat brush. So. And I am going to apply the concealer right here first, and I'm patting the product at first, and then I am going to blend it to make sure that we don't see that it's not obvious looking. So I'm just patting the product on like so to have a little bit more coverage, and then I can use my finger just to blend it a little bit. So. Of course, you can use your fingers. I think using your finger to apply concealer is great. I think it's the best brush ever. Because it really blends everything out. Yeah. Can you see the difference? Patting the color on. And as you can see, I am applying my concealer on the inner corner of my eye, right here. Because this is where we tend to get a little bit dark. So I'm just patting first, and then I'm using my finger to blend everything out. I can also use my concealer to conceal any spots or any redness you might have. Just here, for example. And of course, if you do that, make sure that your concealer is exactly the same color as your foundation. If it's lighter or if it's darker, it's going to look obvious that you have concealer on. We don't want that. On the side of the nose. Now we are going to use a powder. And do you know when we use a powder after foundation? I'm always looking at you because you got the answer, right? Yeah, we need to set it. If we don't use a powder, actually the foundation won't be stable, and at the end of the day, you won't have anything left on your face. So I am going to use a powder to set my foundation. I don't want to have a very powdery, cakey looking complexion, so I'm not going to use a lot of powder, just enough to make sure that everything stays in place. So I'm going to use another brush this time, which is I'm going to use a powder brush, like so. And as you can see, it's very fluffy, and you want to use this kind of brush to apply powder. Because if you use a very straight, a very flat brush, actually you won't be able to apply the powder evenly on your face. So it's better to use a fluffy brush to do that. And the type of powder that I'm going to use is a loose powder. And it's important to use a loose powder instead of a compact powder. Do you know the difference between a loose powder? I'm going to show you. A loose powder is like this, okay? It's, how can I describe it? It's like a loose pigment. It's a loose powder, actually. And it's preferable to use this because the consistency is a lot thinner, actually. A shiny looking, better to use that. But to set my foundation, I'm going to use a loose powder because it's a lot, it looks more natural actually on the skin. So I'm going to use that. So how can you find the right powder color for your skin? Actually, you need to take a powder which is one shade lighter than your foundation. Because when you will apply your powder on your face, the powder tends to get darker because the foundation is a little bit wet. It's exactly the same thing when you're pouring hot water on top of coffee, for example. The coffee gets darker, right? It's exactly the same thing. So make sure that you use a powder which is slightly lighter than your foundation color. And I'm going to apply the powder everywhere, very lightly actually. Because I want my skin to look like skin. So having a completely matte looking skin is not very natural looking. So I want to have a matte, completely matte looking skin. I want to have a glowy, healthy looking skin. So I'm using only a very small amount of powder. Focusing on the center of my face because this is where we tend to get a little bit oily during the day. And as you can see, I'm doing circular motions in Excel to apply the powder evenly on the face. Like that. So my foundation is done. So if you're planning on wearing eyeshadows, I would recommend to apply your eye makeup first and then your blush. Why? Simply because the colors of your eyeshadow, maybe if you're using, for example, like a bronze color or like an emerald green, for example, whatever, the color of the blush will be different according to the color that you're using on your eyes. For example, if I'm using like a pink on my eyes, I won't use a pink on my cheeks because it's going to look too much. So this is why I prefer to apply my eyeshadows first and then apply my blush, so I can choose the right color according to my eye makeup. So, can you see from here her eye color? I think you can see it. They're a little bit green. Can you see that? No, you can't. But I can assure you, they're a little bit green. So, when you have green eyes, do you know what color can you use on your eyes? What color would look the best on your eyes? I'm not looking at you. You don't know? Okay, so I'm gonna explain something very simple. Colorimetry is very important in makeup, simply because we use the colors to correct other colors, or we use colors to enhance other colors. For example, I told you before that to conceal any redness on your face, you can use green, right? Remember. Because green and red are complementary colors. Do you know that? Meaning that if we mix these colors together, these colors annihilate each other. Meaning that, but if you use a green and a red next to each other, they are going to complement each other and enhance each other. You can see that during Christmas time. Red and green. So, since she has green eyes, I'm not going to use red on her eyes because it's going to look awkward, but I'm going to use colors which contain some red inside. So, like copper or coral or you understand? So before applying my eyeshadow, I am going to use a primer for my eyes to make sure that my eyeshadows will stay all day long in my eyes. Do you know what is an eye primer? We have in Makeup Forever, we have the eye prime, and actually it looks, the color is almost transparent looking. And I am going to use a little bit of this on my lids before applying my eyeshadows. It's going to act exactly like a glue for your eyeshadows to stick to. I'm using a very small amount. So, and you can use your fingers, of course. And it is also going to mattify your lids. Sometimes you can have oily lids also, and it makes your eyeshadows not very stable. So it's also a way to make sure that your skin, that your lids won't get oily throughout the day. So I'm not going to do something crazy because it's daytime, even if we all love dramatic looking makeup. But I am going to use very simple colors. So I am going to use this color right here, which is a very soft beige brown color right here. And I'm going to use a brush like so, which is a little bit fluffy and pointy. It's almost like a pencil brush in a way. I'm going to grab some of the eyeshadow on my brush, like so. And I am going to apply eyeshadow on the outer part of my eye, the outer corner right here. And why I am applying a darker color on the outer corner? It's simply because this color is going to help me extend my eye shape. I want my eye to look more awake, more extended, bigger. So having a darker eyeshadow on the outer corner of your eye is going to help you achieve that effect. So I'm applying, and then I always have a tissue in my hand because it's going to help me to remove the excess eyeshadow that I have on my brush. And when I apply my eyeshadow, I just make sure to blend it and diffuse it a little bit, making sure that it's not harsh looking. If I don't blend my color, I'm gonna have like a harsh line on my lids, and it's not gonna look very pretty. I'm just applying very softly my shadow, and make sure that I diffuse the color. And I'm diffusing the color up to the brow bone, and the effect that I'm going to create is, since I'm diffusing the color upward, it's going to open up my eye. It's almost like an optical illusion. This, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other eye. So make sure that before blending the color, you need to pat the color on your lids first. So don't do that when you apply your colors, because otherwise it will remove the intensity. And you will have fallouts on your cheeks. It's not going to look very pretty. So make sure that you pat the color on. So patting motion. And then when the intensity is here, I'm starting to blend. And I'm blending upward also upward. Blending upward is going to help me open up my eye, and blending upward is going to help me extend the eye shape. Then I will take another brush with the lighter eyeshadow, and I'm using this very light beige color right here, and I'm going to use this all over the lid to bring some luminosity to my makeup. And this time, I'm using a flat brush to have better, more even application. So, and very softly, I am blending the two colors together. And I'm also using the light beige just underneath the brow to create a highlighted effect. You really want to have a very fresh, very yeah. Underneath the brow bone. Okay, so I am going to go back to the light brown color right here with the pencil brush. So she's going to look up, and I'm just going to apply the color on the outer corner of my eye, on the bottom lash line, right here. If I don't do that, the eye won't be properly extended. You see, so I'm connecting the color on the bottom lash line with the color on the top, on the upper lash line. I'm connecting the color. I will do the same thing to the other eye. Like that. Then I'm taking a brush with nothing on my brush, very clean brush, and I'm just going to blend all of the colors together, making sure that I have no harsh line. Everything needs to be well diffused and blended so it doesn't look harsh. It's a daytime makeup. It's a makeup that you can wear to work or for a formal event. job interview, for example. You name it. Okay. So to add a little bit more definition, I'm going to use an eye pencil. Okay. And I'm going to apply my eye pencil very close to the lash line. And I'm applying an eye pencil because it's going to give me the illusion that my lashes are a little bit thicker. And then I'm taking my pencil brush, the brush that I used to apply the darker color in the outer corner, and I am going to blend a little bit the pencil to diffuse it so it doesn't look too harsh. And as you can see, the line on the outer corner is a little bit thicker, simply because the outer corner is very important to correct an eye shape. Outer corner is going to help you withstand and to open up the eye. And make sure that you spend a little bit more time on your outer corner. So I'm just applying a little bit more pencil on the outer corner, blend it, and I'm diffusing the pencil with the darker color that I have. I'm applying the color also on the bottom lash line a little bit. Not all the way, but only on the outer part of my eye. And I'm diffusing the color using my brush. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. And by the way, I'm using waterproof pencil, and I think it's the best solution because it's going to stay all day on your lids. Blending, diffusing. I'm adding a little bit more in the outer corner to extend it. Having a pencil brush in your makeup kit is amazing because you can do so many things with it. Yeah. Okay. Blending the color. for daytime, I prefer to use a lengthening mascara rather than volumizing mascara because I don't want to have like dramatic effects on my lashes, and I'm using a brown mascara. So, so starting on the top of the lashes first, I want to try to show you the movement. Doing that, moving upward like so. In order to coat the lashes properly. Like that. After doing that, I'm applying the mascara on the roots. On the roots like so. I'm kind of using my finger as a barrier, so I don't have any mascara on my lids. And I like using a very small wand for this because it's more precise, and I can really use the tip of the brush to apply the product evenly and more precisely. So, then I am going to apply a little bit of blush. And you can definitely use, actually in my professional makeup kit, I don't have any blushers in my kit. I only have eyeshadows, because you can use eyeshadows as blushes. It's exactly the same thing. So I'm going to use some eyeshadows to prove it. I'm going to use this apricot color, this peachy looking color right here, with a blush brush, which needs to be, of course, smaller than your face brush, because you need to be a little bit more precise. So, and I'm not applying the blush, directly on her face. I just want to remove the excess on my hand first, and then I'm going to apply the blush. So, do we know exactly where to apply the blush? Okay, so some people are telling you you need to smile, and then you place the blush on the apple of your cheek. I think that it's a very bad idea. And why? Because, okay, can you smile for me? Okay, if she smiles and I apply the blush here, when she stops smiling, the blush is sometimes too low. So instead of asking her to smile, I just want to make sure that I localize the cheekbone right here. And I'm applying the blush very close to the cheekbone, like so. Moving my way a little bit upward. And it's going to lift my face. So try not to smile now when you apply your blush. I'm very soft and gentle on my skin. Once again, if I push too hard on my brush, if I have too much pressure with my brush, it's going to look very messy. So make sure that you're very light and soft. It's easier to add more rather than adding too much. And then with what's left on my brush, I'm not going to use more. I'm just going to put the blush a little bit on the forehead, on the nose, and on the chin. And why I am doing that is to have a more natural finish, more natural looking complexion, because when we blush, it's not only on the cheeks, it's almost everywhere on the face. So it's putting back some colors. Sometimes when you apply foundation, people will tell you, I look like a ghost, but try to reassure them and saying that it's okay, it's only foundation. So sometimes I don't really like, when you apply foundation, the face looks very flat looking. It's just to give more dimension to my face. Then, I'm going to use a highlighter. You know what is a highlighter? It's a powder right here, which is, of course, maybe 2 shades lighter than her skin tone, with tiny little shimmers inside. Can you see that? It's a little bit sparkly. And I'm going to use it with a brush on her cheekbone, like so. To give like a dewy finish, dewy complexion. Very lightly. And it's going to make her cheekbone pop a little more. Her eyebrows look absolutely perfect. So I don't want to, add more color or to intensify them because I think they look great. I'm just going to use a brow gel. And the product I'm using is the Brow Seal. I love the product because it's your hair stays in place all day, and it's an amazing product. It's almost like a hairspray for your brows. And actually, I use it sometimes for the lashes also. If you don't want to wear mascara, but you still want your lashes to be curly looking, you can use this on your lashes too, which is great. And then I'm going to use to apply some lipstick, but before that, I'm going to use a lip liner. And I always like to use a lip liner because it's going to help me redefine the shape of my lips. And as a makeup artist, I can immediately see that her top lip, the corners, look a little bit straight. Can you see that? So I just want to give her a little bit more volume without, not too much, but I'm just going to change a little tiny bit the shape. So starting from the Cupid's bow, like so. And by the way, I'm taking a color which is very close to her skin tone. I'm not using any dramatic color. You can, of course, it's not. I'm just trying to keep everything very natural looking. of the cupid's bow, making the cupid's bow slightly rounder, and then starting from the corners of my mouth, I'm changing a little bit the shape on the side to create more volume. You see the difference? Okay. Then a little bit on the bottom lip. And then I'm going to use the lip pencil as a lipstick. Definitely do that, because I think that the color looks very pretty on her. And by the way, if you're using the lip pencil all over your lips, and if you put lipstick on top of the lip pencil, it's going to help your lipstick to stay longer on your lips. It almost acts like a primer for your lips. I'm using that. And I'm going to add a little bit of gloss so it doesn't look too dry. So it's a clear gloss, nothing fancy. And I'm applying the gloss on the center of her lips, simply because if I apply my gloss everywhere on my lips, it's going to look flat. The goal is to create a highlight on the center to give the illusion that her lips are a little bit bigger. So I'm just applying on the center. So, just going to do. Just take my brush and remove the excess. Alright. And there you have it, a very daytime, natural looking makeup. But she already looks beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to transform, not transform, but I'm going to create a more evening kind of makeup. So we are going to reinforce the colors to create a more dramatic looking makeup. So it's also to show you that if you're wearing a natural makeup during the day and you're going to a party or an event in the night, you don't have to remove your makeup. You can definitely, reinforce a little bit the colors and transform your makeup. So, what I'm going to do is start with my eyes, and I'm going to take my favorite brush ever, you already know it, which is the pencil brush. And I'm going to take a very dark blonde color right here. Looks brown on the camera, but it's not brown. It's very It's like a dark purple. And I'm going to use that. And I am going to apply this color on the outer corner of my eye. Okay. And I will use the color also to sculpt a little bit the crease right here. And it's going to define the eye shape even more. So I'm just applying first, and then I will blend the color. Then I'm taking a flat brush like this, and I will blend the colors. Once again, making sure that I don't have any harsh line. Everything needs to be well diffused. And I'm using the purple, by the way, because her eyes are green, and purple and green eyes looks amazing. So if you have blue eyes, what color can you wear? What colors can you wear, in your opinion? If you have blue eyes. Do you know a little bit the colors? You know, when we were little and we used to, mix the colors together to draw or whatever. If you mix, for example, red and yellow, what color do you have? Orange, yeah. So, and if you mix red and blue? True. So, we have the basic colors. We have 3 basic colors, which is blue, red, and yellow. These 3 colors, you cannot create them by mixing 2 colors together. They are the basic colors. But when you mix these colors together, you create other colors, and they are complementary colors. So when you mix red and yellow together, you have an orange. And on the color wheel, do you know what is the color wheel? On the color wheel, the orange is the opposite color of blue on the wheel. So blue and orange are complementary, meaning that if your dark circles are very blue, which happens quite often, right? You can use a tiny little bit of orange on your dark circles before applying your concealer, and it's going to help you to get rid of the bluish undertone that you have underneath your eyes. So, if you have blue eyes, now that we know that the complementary color of blue is orange, you can use definitely colors which contain orange in it, like coral or bronze or whatever, but I'm going to use in blue eyes. If you have brown eyes, what colors can you wear? You still don't know.
Is it sort of any colour?
Exactly. If you have brown eyes, you're very lucky in a way, because you can wear everything. Doesn't mean that if you have blue eyes, of course you can wear everything. But if you're a makeup artist and you want to give some advices to a client, because she's asking you what colors can I wear? I don't really know. Can you wear blue on blue eyes? Yes, you can, of course. Depends on your style, but you can definitely. I would recommend to use a very dark navy blue instead of using a bright, crazy looking blue if you have glasses, because it's going to look a little bit weird. But if you use a very dark blue, for example, on the lash line, it's going to look amazing. It's going to give you some drama to your eyes. Actually, I'm just giving you some tips, but it doesn't mean that you need to use these colors and that's it. You can definitely